attended, and we did the old same march from the old school to the new school. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you recognise people there?
Yeah, there were a few back from the same class, even from primary school days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I noticed? I had a school reunion, 20-year school reunion, and even though it's 20 years, you'd laugh at this, you know, but you look at some people and go, oh, geez, you're looking good. Other ones like, oh, you know, you've been in the sun a bit, or you're getting a bit of wrinkle there, sort of thing. Yeah. But only after 5 minutes of 10 minutes of conversation, you're looking at the same eyeballs. Eyeballs don't age.
Yeah.
And I found that's the trick. You just stare into someone's eyeballs who you've known for a long time, and you go, you're the same person in there. Yeah. I can see you're the same person, you know, and you fall into those same jokes.
Yeah, the longer you're with them, they start looking how they used to, and you sort of relate and think, he hasn't changed much at all, really.
Isn't it weird?
When he has. But, when you're with them, they sort of just change back again.
Hey, mate, tell me, right, because, I'm 42, so I find myself seeing my high school friends. I haven't seen them for 20 years, but the minute I meet them, we're joking about the same good stuff, and I feel I already know them, you know.
Yep.
And then there's friends I've met and worked with along the way in the last 20 years, and they come and go, of course, you know. So for you've had a whole series of life there. Actually, you've been in the Navy with the same lads for 20 years.
Yeah.
They'd be like school. Yeah.
Actually, in my intake when I first joined, there were 3 from the Wynnum High School.
Interesting. Wow.
Wynnum High School.
By coincidence.
Yeah. Well, there we were getting on the train in Brisbane, and there was 3 from the same school. One was actually in my class at school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, did you go overseas?
Yeah, went overseas. I was actually single all of my 20 years in the Navy.
High five! Yeah. You're lucky. No.
Yeah, well, I am actually, because I used to feel for these poor married fellas.
Yeah.
Honestly, like a ship would deploy overseas and you'd be gone from 7 to 11 months.
Yep.
And some of these poor fellas that were married, you know, their wife might be expecting when they left and the kid would be born, they'd get back and she didn't know who's this fella, and that's the father. And it was really, really tough on those poor blokes.
Yeah. And
especially staying away that long. And I used to see them sitting on the ship sort of moping around, and I thought, no way.
Most definitely.
Stay single.
It's really hard.
Yeah, so I volunteered to stay at sea because I used to enjoy it.
You volunteered to stay at sea, so what does that mean you actually...
Well, normally they tried to vary your service between shore and ship, because we've got a lot of land bases, so you'd spend some time at shore, spend some time at sea, just to break it up for you. But I used to sort of enjoy the sea life being single, so I'd say to them, well, send me to sea whenever you like. I'm ready, steady, let's go.
And please explain it to me, because I don't really understand. That means you're constantly on your way to another...
What I mean by at sea, you're actually living on a ship, on a warship,
right?
Rather than on a land depot.
I see.
Time at sea, you're actually living on a ship and just travelling the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
You would have been to Yokosuka, Japan? The big naval American base?
Yokohama and Kure.
Yeah?
Yeah, we used to go to.
Right. Yokohama. Yeah. My wife's from Yokosuka.
Oh, okay.
So there's a big they took over the American, the Japanese base there back in the day, you know. And, so this town is quite famous because it's where the Second World War was, where the Japanese signed that the war was over.
Yeah.
That's like 3 kilometers from a family home.
Wow.
Yeah. So in Iwato, Yokosuka, it's the suburb.
Yeah.
It's sort of an industrial. That's where they made a lot of those weapons for the Japanese Navy, because their big naval base was in this town, and the Americans, took over that base. Yep. It's a very, very large base, but there's a lot of Americans in that town. But all these years later, it's a kind of fun, and everyone's, it's just a kind of quirky, almost like a Gold Coast kind of thing. You've got sort of like a Cavalav that all the Americans go to in a way, filled with Filipino birds, funnily enough, which I didn't see coming, to be honest. But that's where the term hunky dory.
Okay,
you would have heard that a bit.
I have.
Yeah. Well, that comes from this street, which is the Honcho Dory. Honchadori is just this street. And it was a bar area for the Japanese base. But then when the Americans sort of moved in, we'll go to the Honchodori. Everything, it's hunky dory. Everything's hunky dory.
Yeah.
You know,
It's all
isn't that
good.
interesting? Yeah,
All
it's
good.
all good down at the hunky dory. Oh yeah.
Wow.
So where is a good place to go? If you can look back, that's
Looking back to the 60s, one of my favourites was Hong Kong. It's changed so much now. It was a duty-free port and reasonably cheaply priced back in those days. Plenty of bars and plenty of nightlife and plenty of fun. I still go to Hong Kong these days, but it's one of the dearest places in the world now. It's completely changed. But yeah, I used to really enjoy Hong Kong,
was
Singapore.
British back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, the British were running Hong Kong back then, and Singapore was also good. I don't know if there's any ex-sailors around, but Biggie Street was always a good place to hang out.
Yeah.
Biggie Street, if you want to Google that. BGIS, Biggie Street, Singapore. That's where all the action was at
Yeah.
night. Yeah,
They're
Biggie
beautiful women. Those, that Singaporean lady.
Yeah.
You know, every time you get on a Singapore plane, I'm like, oh,
Street. Yeah,
jeez.
yeah. Penang was a good place to visit. I used to enjoy Penang. Manila was a good place to go.
Yeah. What did you do? Wasn't there the Korean War?
The Korean War was well before my time. That was about
Was it 51?
That was
Oh.
about 49 or 51.
I see.
Somewhere
Okay.
around that era. Yeah. Yeah, no, I joined the Navy in 63. So, but the Korean War was just after the Second World War.
Yeah. Now, what I was sort of getting at before is that I remember being in the 80s, just a kid, thinking, "Oh, good, war's over." You know, we're sort of we're smart enough now that'll all never happen again.
War's never over.
Isn't it funny?
There's always conflict somewhere.
Yeah,
Always.
it's amazing. I mean, it's not that unrealistic, but it's just amazing that the Western world is still at it. You know,
Yeah,
sending these poor blokes in.
Yeah, no, like some of those Middle Eastern countries here, that their whole life's war. That's all they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know how lucky we are out in this country, I can assure you.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can't even relate to. It's just like almost caveman times. You know, when you're living in a hut there and it's a whole different. We can't relate. I'm sure they'd just go, "Whoa, who are these guys coming in here?" You know.
Yeah.
So it's a tough old world. But this is Ray. I say this to everyone that I can't watch the news anymore. And I'm better for it. Only 12 months ago, turned that all off because as a human, I'm really only supposed to know my surrounding area.
Yeah.
Really, you know, I'm supposed to make sure my wife and kids are good, and you're my mate, and I want you to be happy, sort of thing. And if I'm stressing about Syria, which I was doing, if I was stressing about all these bad things in the world, I was actually stressing to the people I know here.
Yeah.
It's not human. It's not meant to be. Technology has created that.
Yeah. Like, I don't watch the news either anymore, to be quite honest. I hardly turn the TV on. The only way I keep up in touch with the news is probably from the newspaper and on the radio when it comes on. But I just don't watch. I just don't watch it. It's just there's no good news. It all seems to be bad news. And if you get up and start your day with a bit of bad news, it just reflects on the day, I think.
Yeah.
I found that, so I just don't bother with it.
Yeah. And I've said it before, being as fit as you are and with combat skills or defense skills, you live Broadbeach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Broadbeach, you could walk down the shop today and everything's pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's the world. That's the world you're living. Everything's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you need to be fit and knowledgeable enough to defend something that happens on that moment, right?
Of course.
If someone comes to, and you see something, hey, that's not right. You know, I think in the old caveman time, you have to sort that out and nip it in the bud before it becomes a big problem. Not stress about massive problems overseas that just you wouldn't know about if the internet wasn't created. Let's face it.
Yeah. But by you stressing about them, it's not going to fix it. That's for sure.
That's right. You know, but yeah, it used to really get me down. You know,
Yeah.
so that's what I was getting at before. This technology thing, we're the guinea pigs. You understand that?
Yeah.
But we've gone through that. Oh my God! You know, I know everything about everything. Now I don't want to know anything about anything.
Yeah.
I want that old life back.
Oh, I believe there was less stress in the world before mobile phones too. I remember before mobile phones, I used to have an answering machine at home. And it was the greatest invention, this answering machine. I'd come home about 4 o'clock, and if the green light was on, a message, a ripper, and you'd play it back. And, I've got 2 messages. Now, the mobile phones are just going full on. And there's just too much to do and to keep on top of it all. And I really believe that's what's stressing a lot of people in this world, because like there's road rage now, and I don't recall any of that back in my younger day.
Yeah,
none of that.
No.
These days, everyone's sort of agitated and on edge. And, so.
It makes us be able to do more. Like, this technology has allowed us to do more. So we'll just do as much as we can.
Yeah.
Being these guys, and just, I've got no time to do even more.
Yeah, well, I've got so much to do, I'm never going to catch up when I'm retired.
Yeah, right.
Don't ask me what I do, because I don't know, but I must do something.
Yep. But back in the old day, I remember working at a plumbing supplies job, my first job in Slacks Creek. It was all paper. Guy would come in. There was no FPOS yet. There was credit card, but we didn't really want to have credit card, so he would pay cash. We'd fill his order out in a bit of paper. That would get locked in the safe with his cash. And next minute, the septic tank would be delivered on a truck over there. Everyone would get their pay slip on Friday, all in paper, just paper that would run around the office. Just 3 of us would run this sort of thing. But by 3:30 every afternoon, you're in your car and no one could contact you.
Yeah.
It was just so much free time in your mind.
Exactly.
And whatever wasn't, I remember stressing about a lot of things though. Like, where's my girlfriend? Where, oh no, mum's not home. That not being able to contact someone, and you might, do you remember those times you'd have like real worry for a long time because you couldn't contact anyone? They've taken that away. But at the same time, look around, Ray. I'm in a band. We can't even play up with women anymore. We can't. And we're we're blokes, right? So honestly, every technology has killed all that completely. Yeah. And we know it. I'm not going to lie and say that as blokes we don't go, oh, she's all right, whoa, but it's actually gone now because everyone knows there's Facebook, and everyone can find someone. I could say do a gig, or you can't even play up in Singapore anymore.
No, you can't do anything anymore.
No. I've got you. Isn't it funny? Yeah. We've created something that does that to you.
Yeah.
Weird. But again, we're the guinea pigs, mate. Someday in the future, maybe they'll go, whoa, geez, that was a bit rough. Everyone got a bit unhappy there.
I just got no idea what's going to happen in the future. Things are changing so much. What's next?
Who knows?
I thought they'd invented everything, but they keep thinking up new things, I tell you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Mate, I think we've reached a natural conclusion. And I just like I say to everyone, I hope you didn't think this was too ridiculous, but if you come back again, it's always better, like in a month or something. And then because I kind of already know a bit about you, and I'll think about you now, and I'll go, oh, mate, I wish I asked this because that really interests me, Yeah. So you've got the answers to a million questions see, my dad is the same age as you, but I could ask him all these things and he'll go, yeah, buddy, nah. So it's really hard to get these answers out of anyone, but you put them in this room with a microphone and an earpiece.
Yeah. You
can't answer your phone. I can't check my messages. We're sort of locked in, and I feel like there's a million questions that they'll only be better if you come back again.
Yeah, not a problem. If you ask me anything you like.
Great.
Whether I answer it or not's another story, but you're most welcome to ask.
Yeah. Hey, any new, you're at the gym last night, any new, I'm looking for my next thing right now.
What are you going to do next? Well, I just got back from Bali, actually. I didn't mind Bali. I've got a daughter getting married over there in September, so I'll be back over there. I'm in Canberra next week. Yep. This retirement's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm travelling more. I'd never been on a cruise, actually, until I left the Navy.
Oh, wow.